How was Paul able to deliver Hymanaeus and Alexander to Satan in 1 Timothy 1, verse 20? Here's what the passage says. Of whom is Hymanaeus and Alexander, whom I have delivered unto Satan, that they may learn not to blaspheme. Wow, Paul was able to take these men and deliver them to Satan. That's what he says, doesn't he? So again, here's one of those passages that if you pull it out of its context and you have absolutely no understanding of what's going on, you might wonder, what in the world is he talking about? So let's go back and let's look at the context of the verse. The context begins in verse 18. For it is in that verse that Paul tells Timothy to war a good warfare. Timothy is a young evangelist, isn't he? A young gospel preacher. Paul is an older gospel preacher. And Paul is exhorting him and encouraging him in this particular text to do the things that need to be done as a preacher, and one of those is to war a good warfare. In verse 19 he tells him this, I need you to hold faith and a good conscience. You need to be steadfast in the faith. You need to make certain that you preach the truth and only the truth. But then he says this, there are some who are not doing that. In fact, there are some who concerning the faith have made shipwreck. There are some individuals who are not adhering to the truth, who are not proclaiming the truth. There are some individuals who are now proclaiming false doctrine. They would destroy the gospel of Jesus Christ. Hymanaeus and Alexander were two examples of men who were destroying the faith. I thought we weren't supposed to call names. And yet Paul labels these two men, does he not? What's interesting, when we go to 2 Timothy, we learn a little bit more about one of the men by the name of Hymanaeus. In fact, we learn something about which he teaches. Paul says this, and their word will eat as doth a canker. That little word canker could be translated cancer. Cancer does a lot of eating, does it not? And it spreads, and it festers, and it destroys. False teaching does the exact same thing, Paul says. Now notice, of whom is, there's our man, Hymanaeus and Philetus, who concerning the truth have erred. Now here's their teaching, saying that the resurrection is past already and overthrow